do is a point where guys need to lose their jobs, and if, especially the three that I said, Hurdle, Steerage, Huntington, and you can throw a message in there as well, if they have their jobs in 2020, that message is going to be sent loud and clear. This organization has no accountability and does not care whatsoever about winning. Remember the epic collapse of 2012? Yeah, well, this is worse. The Pittsburgh Pirates and Milwaukee Brewers capped off their 3-game series on Wednesday night. In the game, the Pirates' post-break collapse continued. The Brewers were 8-3 victors as the Brew Crew finished off the sweep of the Pirates with a loss that pushed the Pirates to 48-66 on the season. This includes being a miserable 4-22 since the All-Star break. This is a type of slide that needs to result in people losing their jobs. As the Pirates' woes continue, the Brewers quickly grabbed a 2-0 lead. With 2 outs in the first inning, Mike Moustakas doubled and Keston Hiura took Trevor Williams' fastball to deep right center field. The two Pirate killers teamed up to quickly give the Crew a 2-0 lead. Ryan Braun tripled to start the second inning. He would then come around to score on a sacrifice fly, and the Brewers led 3-0. Their lead grew to 5-0 in the third inning when Eric Thames singled in a pair. Facing reliever Drew Pomerantz, who started due to the messiness of the Brewers' starting rotation, the Pirates got their first base runner in the third inning. It came when Jacob Stallings launched a solo home run with 1 out in the inning. His third long ball of the season made the score 5-1 Brewers. Hiura, who has quickly become a Pirate killer, was added again in the 5th inning. With 1 out in the inning, he slugged a solo home run off of Williams, making the score 6-1 Milwaukee. The second blast gave Hiura his first career 2-home run game. It also gave the Brewers second baseman 5 home runs at PNC Park this season. Pirates second baseman have hit 3 home runs at PNC Park this year. In 5 innings of work, Williams allowed 6 runs on 8 hits, 2 home runs, a walk, and just 1 strikeout. He also allowed a career-high 6 extra base hits in the loss. Williams has now made 8 starts since coming off the injured list. In these 8 starts, he has allowed 36 runs and 13 home runs and 45 2/3 innings of work. This comes out to a 7.09 ERA, which, it goes without saying, simply is not good enough. While the Pirates have nothing to play for in the final 7 weeks of the season, one thing worth watching will be to see if Williams can get back on track before the end of the season. With Williams' day over, Parker Markell took over for the Bucks in the top of the 6th inning. Markell issued a walk, allowed an infield hit, and quickly found himself in trouble. After a pass ball moved the runners up, pinch hitter Lorenzo Cain fisted a 2-run single into right field. This made the score 8-1 Brewers. Despite a Pablo Reyes error, Michael Feliz pitched a scoreless 7th inning. This included a pair of strikeouts. Feliz continues to quietly put together a fine season as a reliever for the Bucks. Starling's good night at the plate continued when he walked in the 7th inning. After Kevin Newman reached on a 2-out throwing error by Moustakas, Brian Reynolds singled in Stallings to make the score 8-2 Brewers. After Milwaukee made a pitching change, Starling Marte remained red hot by picking up his second hit of the game. This one drove in Newman and made the score 8-3. Jeff Hartley pitched a scoreless 8th inning for the Pirates, and in need of work, Felipe Vasquez took the mound in the 9th. Vasquez went on to strike out all 3 batters that he faced. The Pirates were retired in order in the 9th inning to end the game. The team is now 19 games under 500, which is the worst record they have had since the 2010 season, the worst baseball we've been playing in the Clinton Hurdle era. Hopefully, 2019 will prove to be his last. After a day off on Thursday, the Pirates kicked off a 6-game road trip in St. Louis last night. Chris Archer got the start for the Pirates, while Mike Schultz and the Cardinals sent out to go Hudson to the mound. Chris Archer pitched very well, but the Cardinals ended up winning by a score of 6-2 to take Game 1 of the series and Game 1 of the 6-game road trip. We'll see if the Pirates can win their first series from the All-Star break. They have yet to win a series, and generally that happens when you go 4-22. You're not winning many series there. But this has gone on, as I said, far too long, and it's just so frustrating. Like it's gotten to the point where it's miserable to watch games. And I've said this before, and I said this, I believe, 2 weeks ago when I was on, and it's only gotten worse since then. It really has. It's gotten to the point where, usually I look forward to the game all day. I'm excited to watch the Pirates play at night. But at this point, it's like, okay, I'm just going to sit in misery for 3 hours watching them get beat up. That's what's going to happen. Sure, it's fun to watch Brian Reynolds compete for the batting title. Kevin Newman at short, Starling Marte doing his thing. There are some silver linings you can take out of everything. But generally, it's not fun to watch your team get beat up. And as I said, this is the worst baseball that we've played under Clint Hurdle. It is. We have never been 19 games 100 in the Clint Hurdle era. It just has not happened. But it is happening now, and that means it is time to move on from the Clint Hurdle era and move into the next. If we move on from Clint Hurdle in season, which I doubt would happen, Tom Prince would most likely assume the interim manager duties, and I would assume somebody new would come in 2020. That could either be Prince staying, they can maybe go to Jeff Bannister, maybe Brian Esposito in AAA. We'll see. But 2019 needs to be Clint Hurdle's last season in Pittsburgh. This has been his worst season as a manager ever in terms of in-game decision-making, and really just in terms of record as well. As I said, they have never been this bad under Clint Hurdle, and I'm going to continue to say this. I appreciate and respect everything that he has done for this city and for this franchise. He's brought meaningful and winning baseball back. But he is also taking it away from us at the same time by not willing to evolve into the next era of baseball. And we need to bring somebody in that is willing to evolve and change. Because if we have, again, gotten stuck behind the curve. The curve is moving forward and we are behind it. We are. And we need to bring people in that are ahead of that curve. Because that's how small market teams win. That's how you have successful small market teams. You just look at Oakland and Billy Beane and what he's done for forever out in Oakland, putting sustainable winning baseball out. Yes, they haven't won a World Series under him, but they have been competitive. They've made playoffs. They're a solid franchise, and they're a small market team. Take a look at Tampa Bay and what they've done as of late. They have put successful baseball on the field, and they're a small market team. And the reason why generally small market teams, if they are successful, if they are making the playoffs, potentially winning World Series, it's because they have those forward-thinking, innovative people put in place. And that's what Clint Hurdle, Neil Huntington, and the whole current Pirates regime was 2013 and 15. That's why they were so successful, is because they were ahead of the curve. But just because you were ahead of it in 2015 doesn't mean you're still ahead of it now. That curve has moved significantly forward, and the Pirates not only have fallen in it, but they've fallen behind it. And that's just been showcased by this 4-22 stretch. It really has. And the Pirates need to make a decision this offseason, really moving forward, as to what they want the future of this organization to be. Do they want to keep sending the constant, nonstop signal to fans that, hey, we don't care? I mean, there's a reason nobody shows up to games. It's because time and time again, management has shown, we don't have accountability here. We don't care about winning here. We care about making our money and moving on, and putting a good enough product on the field to make enough money to be happy. And fans are sick of it. They are. The thing is I would never personally participate in one of these, boycotts that they suggest with, hey, if you're upset, don't show up to the games. I'm going to show up. That's just something that's going to happen. But at the same time, there needs to be accountability, and it's maddening. It is very maddening and very frustrating to see that and to realize it, that there's no accountability here. There's accountability in every aspect of life, but when it comes to this Pittsburgh Pirates organization, it doesn't seem as if there is any. None whatsoever. If there was accountability, Clint Hurdle would not be managing the game this evening in St. Louis. Neil Huntington would not still be the GM. Ray Searage would not still be the pitching coach. But they all are. They're all still here. This offseason, there needs to be accountability, and that needs to be put into the form of guys losing their jobs and moving on from certain players. It can happen. This team can still be successful, but there needs to be wholesale changes if that success is ever going to be seen, sustainably at least, in the city of Pittsburgh. just is what has to happen. It's up to the general manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates to realize what they are. Pittsburgh Pirates general manager Neil Huntington is a lot of things, but dumb is not one of them. No village idiot could be the architect of turning one of the great embarrassments of North American sports into a perennial playoff contender, which Huntington did in the early part of the 2010s. While the Pirates GM has lost a step or 20 since the team's last postseason appearance in 2015, he's shown that the savvy mind that brought playoff baseball back to Pittsburgh is still in his skull, and occasionally comes out from behind the curtain to applause from Bucco fans. Any general manager who can turn an aging Andrew McCutchen, an impending free agent in Mark Melancon, and an ineffective Tony Watson into Brian Reynolds, Felipe Vasquez, and hotshot prospect O'Neill Cruz still has something left in the tank. While Huntington has lost his fastball, he's still capable of making deals that would warrant 7 years in the Allegheny County clink for robbery. Thus, it's fair to say that Huntington qualifies as an intelligent man. So why does it appear that amidst our fourth straight summer of discontent, one of the only people on the planet whose opinion matters can't even correctly identify what's wrong with the Pittsburgh Pirates? The Bucs need to rebuild. Any team that loses 20 baseball games in 26 days probably isn't going to be good in the near future. And the Pirates are no exception to the rule. For 3 years, the team floated down the river of purgatory. Now, it's, to paraphrase Ellis Redding in the Shawshank Redemption, crawling through 500 yards of bleep-smelling foulness I can't even imagine. We know the Pirates stink now, and we know the team will do little, if anything, to improve between November and February, thanks to Bob Nutty. If Huntington is as smart man logic tells us he is, he knows it too. But at a time of year when the team is face down dead in Turtle Creek, any reasonable organization wouldn't be giving players who just might be on the roster when it doesn't suck a chance to show what they can do at the big league level. A chance to shine. A chance to fail. A chance to succeed, and a chance to overcome growing pains. Huntington doesn't appear to be interested in seeing the future, or for that matter, giving this fan base a reason to give a damn about what anybody does over the next 2 months. How else can we explain why Mitch Keller is in AAA? Yes, he's coming up Monday, but Huntington has given his reasoning as to why Keller isn't in Indianapolis. While he's acknowledged that Keller might one day be able to hang with a big team, he also explained that the reason Keller isn't here yet is because it'd just be too difficult to take somebody out of the starting rotation. Maybe Huntington is engineering the 1995 Braves, and we plebeian fools are fools for thinking we're watching the Pirates' worst starting rotation since 2010. Apparently, it's Huntington's belief that the organization's top prospect with an upper 90s fastball and an above-average curve isn't worthy of starting games over tomato cans such as Dario Agrizal and Alex McRae. The only conceivable explanation for that is that Keller, with a 10.50 ERA in 3 big league starts, hasn't been good in 2019, and 2019 still matters to Huntington. As rotten as Keller's cup of coffee in the majors tasted, he's a part of the Pirates' future. Agrizal and McRae aren't, yet those two have gotten chances, while Keller still rides the buses in the International League. Huntington's blindness to the future of their franchise goes beyond Keller. If the Pirates weren't focused on building toward the future, Eric Gonzalez and Pablo Reyes' names wouldn't be written in black marker. Gonzalez, who isn't good, is taking valuable playing time away from Kevin Newman, who is. Meanwhile, Reyes, with an OPS plus of 27, is somehow still playing baseball at the highest level in the world. Neither of these guys figure to be part of the Pirates' future plans. So what purpose does penciling their names in the lineup card on a meaningless August night serve? It's also hard to justify the Pirates' other middle infielder, Adam Frazier, starting every day. For this team to build toward the future, the best possible double play combination is Newman and Cole Tucker. Aside from one magical stretch in early July, Frazier has been awful. Hey, a metaphor for the 2019 Pirates. And doesn't figure to be here when this team is a winner again. So what's his use? What's the trouble with giving Tucker another chance at short and giving Newman a second, or vice versa? As hard as it might be to believe, the Pirates aren't the worst team in baseball. There are currently 6 teams, major league teams, with worse records. the